Joining us right now live is the chairman of the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas. Welcome back to Sports Desk, Senator Sonny Angara. Welcome.
Morning.
Well, welcome to the morning. You've been sa gabi with Charles, right?
Yes, that's right, Andre. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, Senator. I know you're very busy, especially with what happened sa Gilas-Australia match. Okay, let's get to it. Earlier, Senator, you had a statement yesterday in the Pilipinas-Australia brawl, and I will quote, "I stand with Gilas, but sanctions must be meted out." Di na ako magpapaligo-ligo, Senator Sonny. What's our game plan? If ever, let's say, FIBA suspends not just the players, but takes out the Philippines, says, okay, the Philippines cannot compete in international play, what's our next move?
Well, that would be quite a drastic case, no, Andre, if the Philippines is totally, as a team, is suspended from participation. What we're anticipating, based on past sanctions meted out by FIBA, is more of suspensions for individual participants, players, maybe coaches and officials, possibly, and possibly fines for the SBP itself as the federation or National Sports Association. No? But hopefully it doesn't get to that point where where the Philippines itself is suspended. That would really set back the efforts of SBP, which began when we made the Olympics for the World Cup for the first time in Seville, and our goal to make the Olympics eventually, no. So hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we have to be prepared for all eventualities, and hopefully if that happens, then you still have to have some friendlies maybe and keep in shape and keep the team together, no. But we're hoping it doesn't get to that, and maybe we just have to recruit players to the pool, have a larger pool in case of suspensions.
And for sure, we will make an appeal if in case that worst case scenario happens.
I would think so. I would think something like that would be appealable, because it might be, at least in our opinion, possibly excessive. No?
Okay, Senator, so we're looking at different scenarios, a fine, diba, suspension, nabanggit mo nga yung players or baka yung staff din, some officials, and revocation of the FIBA hosting rights in 2023, even our suspension nga from international play. May mga previous precedent ka bang alam na pwede bang pagbasihan ng FIBA sa kung ano man ang ipapataw sa atin na penalty?
That's a good question, Andre. I think I was told the most recent incident was a Serbia-Greece game back in 2010. It was also a friendly, also resulted in kind of nagkarambulan din, and
ito yun, similar
and there were suspensions, multi-game suspensions, and fines. Both federations were fined.
There were also some chairs thrown and players got suspended. You're right. Similar to ito yung suspended players there. Serbia's Nenad Kristic, who used to play for the NBA as well, and some players, Milos Teodosic. Sa Greece then they had two players.
Plays for Los Angeles Clippers.
That's right. Senator, sabi ni SBP President, I got to speak with SBP President Mr. Al Panlilio. SBP will be writing a letter to FIBA before they actually render their decision on the brawl. What will the letter's content be, and yung tone, have you seen it? And napadala na ba natin? When will we send this actual letter?
Well, based on all the statements of our President, Al Panlilio, I would expect the tone to be kind of, regretful and conciliatory, and but at the same time maybe express some opinions as to how we could improve, and hopefully express that hopefully doesn't affect our hosting of the World Cup in 2023, which, as you know, went through a process, and we were hosting it with Japan and Indonesia, and we beat out many countries for the rights, no? So it was a competition in itself.
Yeah.
So, I would expect the tone, that tone, to be conciliatory and but also explanatory in a sense, and trying to mitigate whatever might be meted out.
It hasn't been sent out yet, the letter?
Palagay ko hindi pa.
Hindi pa na. Okay. Ngayon, di ba 9 players nga yung na-involve and na-eject?
On our side, yes.
That's on our side, at least, for Australia. If these 9 players involved will be suspended by FIBA, ano yung magiging next course of action? Are we already looking ahead and saying, okay, papalitan natin yung 9 players who will compete in the next FIBA international tournament sa next round of qualifiers?
Yeah, thankfully, Andre, we have a deep bench, no? Because we have a professional league, the PBA, and there are many players who are ready, I think, to suit up for our country. If you saw sitting behind the bench, Paul Lee, maybe Mark Pingles if he's over his ACL injury, We have a couple of other people there. I think Ray Parks, his name has been thrown out. So I'm not committing in any way. I'm just throwing out names who I think would be capable. Marshall Laster, if he's willing, who would be
Are we
great
allowed,
additions.
Senator? Allowed ba tayo? Kasi di ba may pool nga na nilagay si Coach Shot. Are we allowed if ever to, if that happens nga na mawawalan tayo ng players? Kasi if we even include Kiefer Ravena, malaki-laki talaga, marami-rami yung players na mawawala sa atin. Are we allowed to actually get players outside that initial pool?
As long as we're not prohibited from doing so, I think we can.
Okay.
But again, that's a possible sanction also of FIBA. They could say, you just deal with your existing set of players. As a punishment, you can no longer expand your pool. That's possible, no?
Yeah.
But that would be a bit absurd if you get suspended and then you can no longer put together players because many are suspended. Mahirap naman maglaro ng kulang.
Kulang na nga, mapipilayan pa tayo. Internally, kayo ba sa SBP, napag-usapan niyo ba, Senator, na mag-hand-out kayo ng sanctions, hindi lang sa players, nabanggit nga, even yung coaches and players, officials who got involved in that scuffle?
I think we'll get to that, but I think what we're really doing is trying to calm everybody down, and we're trying to see what FIBA will do, and if anything, SBP will probably follow what FIBA does.
Kumaga, let's wait first what FIBA will do, and then the SBP will follow.
Yes, I think that's the approach.
Should FIBA also sanction the referees who failed to control that game?
Well, maybe
Assaulting, kasi
if not necessarily sanction, maybe Andre, but at the very least, they should do a review, I think, of the performance of the referees, because there was already a lot of back and forths between Pogoy and Golding. A lot of plays they could have been warned. Anything more from you guys. It's a technical or you're out, and that's really, if you watch the replay, there's at least 4 plays down where nagtitirahan talaga sila.
Even before that brawl,
Yes.
Kumbaga, yung nangyari, sabi nga ng iba, yung brawl na yon was just, kumbaga nag-escalate na lang doon
It was an escalation.
But if it was probably prevented,
I think
before.
Well, what prompted it was Pogoy had an offensive foul and
just a basketball play.
which was a basketball play, and Golding, and he was called for it. But what prompted it was a kicker coming to the aid of Golding, and I think maybe tempers would not have been as high if it were a little more controlled.
Sabi ng mga netizens din, Senator, isang issue na dapat din daw na mapag-usapan natin ay yung security. Ang dami kasing, syempre, ang dami din mga nakisali din. Ang bilis ng pangyayari. And you were there. You saw. A lot came to running to the basketball court. Even your counterpart, Basketball Australia Chief Executive, si Anthony Moore, he implicitly called out the security measures that were in place or lack thereof. He said, quote, "Whilst we accept our responsibility for our role in last night's incident, what we don't accept is the action whereby fans and officials actually get involved in the fray. We got in a situation where the fray actually spills off the court and gets spectators involved as well as match officials. That's the one that's most concerning for us." Anong masasabi mo dito, Senator?
Well, there's a certain truth to that. I think always looking back, you could have provided more security. But I think there was adequate security. It's just that it happened so fast, Andre. It happened, you're talking about less than a minute, actually. If you time it from the elbow of kicker to the time when Golding and Sobi, I think, were escorted back to the bench. You're talking about maybe a minute, less than 2 minutes. So there's not a lot of time to react. But I saw the officials reacting quickly. And they're lucky in a sense because Philippine Arena is very spacious. If you're talking about Araneta or
where it's more compact,
where it's compact, wow, I think there would have been a lot more casualties and a lot more violence that occurred. But looking back, I think the approach really has to be going forward. What reforms can we put in place? How can we improve? If we're still going to host the World Cup, we have to show that we can be better.
All right. Senator, we are not done with you yet. Is it okay?
Absolutely. Please. Yeah.
That's going to be your hot seat.
Can I just add, Andre?
Go ahead.
As the referees, you should also judge the temperature of the game. You know, it's not just the calls on the court. Okay, it's getting hot. We have to cool it down. So I think that's something we should look at.